Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this Introduction to Dynasource webinar. My name is Dimitri Krabbenborg. I'm in Dynasource Business Development Team, and I have the honor to host this webinar today. It's great to see that so many people showed up and that are interested in Dynasource as a platform and to get to know more about us. And we'd love to hear from you after this webinar and get in touch with you. Objective for today is to give you a quick overview of what Dynasource is, what the problems are that we solve and how we solve them. And we would really love to show you a little bit of our new platform, how it works and what the looks and feels are. Purpose afterwards is for you to have an understanding of what we do and hope to get you interested to join our platform. The webinar today will take about half an hour. The first part will be an introduction to Dynasource. So like I said, the problems we solve and how we solve them. And then a demo of our platform. And in this demonstration, we'll do three things. First off, we'll show you how to find the best partner. And that can be the best partner to work with from a service provider point of view, the best partner to allocate leads to or to train from a vendor point of view, but also the best partner to trust when you are an end customer and you're doing an IT project. Secondly, we'll show you how we vet skills. As you might know, we make a distinction between claimed and vetted skills on our platform, and I'd love to show you how we do that currently. And last but not least, we'll help you with getting to know how to get a strong profile on Dynasource, in which all your professionals are onboarded. And I'll guide you through the process of onboarding one of your professionals, and I'll show you how easy that is. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I cannot see them, but my colleagues will monitor them, and if there's any questions, they'll let me know, and I will try to answer them for you. With that being said, I'd like to get started with the webinar. So once again, thanks for joining and enjoy. So Dynasource is an online platform, and we're all about creating transparency. We think that in the IT services industry, there's not enough transparency, which causes some problems. So we want to create transparency, especially considering what a company has in skills and capabilities in-house. So what kind of value they can offer. And when we started with our platform, or the reason that we started our platform actually, can be categorized in 4 groups. And each group has to do something with a certain group of people or group of companies in the IT services chain. To start off with, and I think the most relevant for you guys are the service providers. And we see a lot of service providers struggling with how to show others what value they can add. So they are very good at whatever they do, but how do they make sure that the end customer knows this? And how do we make sure they get in the right spotlights from a vendor like Microsoft or Amazon? And also, how do they get in the spotlight of other partners that might want to collaborate with them? What makes them better than the rest, and how do they show this? Well, up until now, this was a matter of hiring a very good sales guy and a strong marketing team that could set up a marketing website, or that could convince other people how good you are, but there's not really a source of objective data that shows the world what you're good at. Secondly, we can take a look at the distributors and vendors in the IT services chain, and we see that they really have a lack of insight in what their service providers can and cannot do. So like I said before, they really have to look at a marketing website, or they have to talk to a contact person at a partner, which obviously always tells a story that is a little bit colored. This means that if they have a project or a lead that they want to allocate to a partner, they don't have objective skills-based data on which they can base this decision. And this means that the projects and leads might not always end up with the right partner. Secondly, those guys invest in their partners. They train them, they try to develop them, but they don't really have a baseline on which they can measure the success of doing so. So how do they know if they are doing a good job? Third of all, we come to the professionals. And the professionals are, in my opinion, the most important in the whole chain, because without professionals, there would be a big problem, of course. Those are the people that bring the value to the end customer, but we think they don't get the training they need. So we looked at how partners or how service providers train their professionals, and we see that a lot of them train them just to get a certain competency. So a requisite for getting a competency would be, for instance, training 3 people on technology A, and the company will train exactly 3 people, or maybe 4, just in case someone leaves, but no more than that. And that's obvious because they don't really have a reason or a benefit to train everyone and make sure that they're highly trained, because there's no one who's going to see that. Well, we think if there's more transparency, this would be different and for the better. Well, last but not least, we have the end customers. The end customers spend a lot of money on IT, but at the same time, you hear it every day in the news. There's also a lot of IT projects that fail or that go over budget, over time. We think that has a lot to do with selecting the right partner. And right now, just like the distributors and vendors, customers have to rely on a marketing website or a sales pitch, which is not objective. And when they do so, they can only find out during a project if what their salesperson or what the marketing website claimed is actually true. And we feel that's just not right. So we said, hey, we have these problems. We think we can solve it with transparency, but how are we going to do that? And we figured that it would help to have a platform on which everyone could see what partners or service providers can and cannot do, what kind of skills and capabilities their professionals have, and thus what kind of skills and capabilities the service provider itself has. And well, giving more transparency in the value that they can add. And we do that in the following way. We take all the professionals' skills and capabilities data that we can find. So we think that a service provider is a company which is no more than a group of people who have certain skills. If you take all the skills together, you have the skills that a service provider has. If the service provider claims they have extra skills, but they don't have the professionals to prove so, we don't think they have those skills. On the other hand, if a professional has skills which are not on the skills list of a company, well, there's a misfit as well, because we think that the company, the service provider, does have those skills. So we gather all this data and we try to visualize this in an easy visual. And that's quite a hard task because it's a complex skills landscape, so to say, with a lot of different names, a lot of different vendors. So we try to categorize them in 5 domains, which we will dive into a little deeper during the demonstration. But with this visual, we try to give everyone who looks at a service provider, we try to give them a very easy to understand view of what a company can do or what their main focus is. Of course, if you want, you can drill down in this visual to see the more complex skills and capabilities that they have, but that's all up to you. It might be very handy, however, when you are searching for a specific service provider. Well, I mentioned it before. On our platform, we make a distinction between claimed and vetted skills. If I would go to my LinkedIn page today, I could change it and say that I am very good at Java development. Well, everyone who knows me a little bit knows that that's not true. But as an end customer, you don't know that. And if I have a convincing story, you'll only find out that I'm really bad at Java development when we're doing a project together. And that's too late because I will want to have my money for the things that I did. Therefore, we think that vetting information is very important because if something's vetted, other people say that I would be good at Java development or I have certain certifications that prove this. it will be easier for an end customer to work with me because they can trust that whatever I claim and whatever is vetted is true. We do the vetting currently by customer credits. That means that as a professional, you can request credits from an end customer that you've worked with. You're not going to ask as a professional how many stars you get from them. The only thing you're doing is asking the customer, hey, customer, I think I have skill A, B, and C. Which ones do you recognize? If you do that a number of times, your profile becomes stronger and stronger, and the skills that get vetted a lot, uh, well, others can trust that those are true. In the future, we'll also link to the certification databases of the big vendors so that it also shows which certifications you've received, which also tells something about the skills and capabilities that you have. So right here, we try to make an overview of the chain in IT services. On the left side, you see the vendors and the distributors. In the middle, you have the partner or the service providers, and on the right side, you have customers. And what we do really benefits them all. So first of all, we gather a lot of data for vendors or distributors so that they get more insight. So we say you get what you measure. Well, secondly, the service providers, we help them to put themselves in the spotlights. We help to show them what they've got, whether that is to a vendor or to a customer, to whoever they want. We help professionals with getting the training they need, and we help the end customer to get to a short list of partners with objective data that they can trust. Well, that's a nice story in theory, but how does that work in practice? I would like to show you in a demonstration. But before I do so, I'm going to look over to my colleague to check if there are any questions. I don't think there are any questions, so we can hop into the demonstration. Right here, you can see that I'm in a demo database. That means that the information that you see here is all demo data. So there might be things in it that are not entirely true. I am logged in as a practice manager today. And a practice manager is someone who manages the practices of a service provider. So that would be anyone who's responsible for the billable people within the company. That's one of the roles we have. We also have some roles in the vendor, from the vendor point of view. And there's a professional role. We'll not dip into the vendor part. We will dip into the professional part because we'll onboard a professional a little bit later. But for now, we start as a practice manager, and I'm the practice manager of a company called My Demo Partner, as you can see right here. And when I'm highlighting this, it might make sense to scroll down a little bit and to show you the visual, which I tried to explain a little bit earlier in this presentation. And what you see here is something that we call a Mondrian. The Mondrian gives you an idea of what a company can do and what their main focus is. So in this case, you see in the middle a big square with 36 in it that says development. And I know that development is the spare point for this partner. So let me explain what you see exactly. And we start over here. You see 59 professionals. That means that 59 professionals have onboarded on Dynasource, and those professionals are all employed by My Demo Partner. These are only the people who are billable. So a marketing person would most likely not be on Dynasource because they are not working on a project. Those professionals can claim skills. And for those skills, they get points in 1 of 5 domains, being development, infrastructure, business application, collaboration tools, and database, or BI. And we count them up, and that brings us to a Mondrian. Well, this is different for every company, of course. It gives an overview of what a company is good at. Can also be taken to a higher level when you combine several service providers. If you combine the professionals that are working with those service providers, you get an overview of a whole ecosystem of service providers. So they could be interesting for a vendor. If I click on one of those domains, I can see exactly the skills, product skills that they have. So to give an idea, I see here Amazon AWS badge with 10 behind it. That means that 10 professionals claimed that they have the skill. And you might wonder where those product skills come from, because it's not something that you can randomly fill in, because that would be disastrous to administer. Those product skills are from product lists from the top vendors, and we can use those to also filter this one. So any relevant product that is offered by one of the vendors that are in this list will be in the product list and can be claimed by a professional. Last but not least, it's possible to filter by industry. So I can see which industries those 59 professionals claim to have knowledge from. So in this case, consumer services is the biggest one. So if I'm in consumer services and I'm looking for a development party who does AWS badge, then this partner might be the partner for me. So say, because I promised you we'll use the search bar today. Say I have a project, I'm a service provider, I have a project in Azure. I would use Dynasource to look for an Azure partner. And I would type in Azure, and as you can see, there's 14 results of companies who claim to do something with Azure or who tell something about Azure in their profile. I think that's a little bit too much, so I want to filter those results. And I can do so by location, the community that they're in, the industries that they have knowledge in, and the size of the company. And for today, I'll just filter on location. I'm sitting in Amsterdam right now, so we'll use that location. And we have a radius of 5 miles. And 5 companies remain, of which, as you can see, my demo partner is one. Well, a lot of those partners do something with or have something with cloud in their name. So for the sake of the demonstration, I'll choose the one that has nothing with cloud in their name, which is VivaWare. I click on view to see their profile. And what I see first is a short story about themselves. And this can be filled in by the practice manager. It's free text, so there could be anything they want, not necessarily objective data, but any additional information that makes their profile stronger. If I scroll down a little, I can see their location. In this case, they have only one, their head office, which is in Amsterdam. I see the size of the company, 11 to 50 billable employees, the industries that the professionals claim they have knowledge from, and the communities that they are in. And scrolling down a little further will show me their Mondrian. And as you can see, this Mondrian is different than the one before. Only 13 professionals in this case, infrastructure as their biggest spare point. And for instance, business applications as a small one. I always like to give this example. If I click on business applications, I see that there's only one person who does something with Microsoft CRM. If I would look at their website, they would probably just say, hey, we do CRM, and that's it. And I wouldn't know how many people they are and how well they might be able to help me with my CRM project if I had any. In this case, we're looking for Azure. So we can filter on Microsoft, for instance, or say we do a project on Amazon, we can filter on Amazon. And that will give us an overview of the Mondrian specifically with one vendor. So right now I filtered on Amazon, and I can see that infrastructure is the biggest category. And they also have some skills in database and BI, machine learning, and AWS deep lens. I can go into the list of professionals that are working here. I can see their names and the product skills that they have. and I can use the search to find a specific professional. So I just saw DeepLens, AWS DeepLens passing by. And if I search, I will find the one person who claimed this skill, which is Sean. And I can view Sean's profile to see if he also has received credits for AWS DeepLens. If I scroll down, I can see the most frequently received credits, which he doesn't have because he only has 2 credits. And if I look at those 2 credits, I can see for which product skills he has received credits from end customers. In this case, it's not for AWS DeepLens, sorry. So Sean might not be the person that I want to work with because I'm not entirely sure that he can do what he claims. And this is the vetting I talked about a little earlier. Sean can request those credits from the end customers whenever he's finished the project. And the end customers can tell others how good Sean is with the product skills that he claims to have. I see my colleague nodding that there's a question coming in. It's about privacy. So I went to the overview of professionals here at VivaWare, and there's all those names, all those open profiles. And the question is, how do we make sure that those are not found by any recruiters? I can answer that by saying that we do a couple of things. So first of all, we offer the opportunity to close down your profile. So you see two types of profiles here. You have the ones with a photo and a name, but there's also the private users here. So these people decided to close down their profile for others, which we don't really mind because in the end we don't care who has certain skills. We just want to know what kind of people are working at a company, what skills they have, and whether they belong to me or to my colleague or to anyone else in the company is not really relevant for the Dynasource profile. Secondly, we make sure that no headhunters or whatsoever are allowed on the platform. So right now, Dynasource is only open on invite. So you have to be invited by us or by a vendor to get onto our platform. And we screen everyone who comes in to make sure that anyone who becomes a member with the wrong reasons gets not allowed. Same goes for partners or service providers that get here for a different reason, but then think that they can use this for recruiting people as well. We'll do everything that we can to get them off the platform again. In addition to the fact that the information that you find here can also be found on other places. Does that answer the question? I see, I guess. So that's very good. So I've shown you how to search on Dynasource. I have given you an overview of how professionals can get their skills vetted, how they can request credit from the end customer. And the last thing that I want to show you today is how you can make sure that your profile is as strong as possible. And we think it can be strong when as many professionals are onboarded as possible. And you do so by inviting them. So as a practice manager, I am able to invite my professionals to onboard to Dynasource, to add their skills to my company profile, and to make sure that my company is as strong as possible. I can do this in 2 ways. So first of all, I can send them a link. I can send them through the whole company. And secondly, I can fill in their details. So we have a first name, that would be John. And a last name, that would be Johnson, with an email, john@mydemo.com. And I would invite him. I can do this with as many people as I'd like, but in this case, just for demo purposes, I'll just do one person. And John goes to his email, which is also a demo email, of course. which he would open, and he will see that he has been invited by a practice manager, which would normally be a name, but in this case, my name is practice manager, to join my demo partner. And he gets to complete his profile. Well, if he goes there, he gets into the onboarding, and you'll see that the first information fields are already filled in, because this is the information that his practice manager has just added. So John only needs to select the password. He reads and accepts the terms, and he gets started. And he goes into a 3-step process of onboarding. Well, if a professional does so, it will take no more than 5 minutes. The first step is to tell something about themselves. And this step is optional, because if you want to make sure that your profile cannot be seen by others, the information that you fill in here will not be displayed anyway. I can choose a profile picture. There we have John. I can add my LinkedIn account if I want to, and I can tell something about myself. John is a developer, so you can tell something about developer, what kind of a developer he is, where he worked before, whatever he wants, basically. And when he's done so, he can go to the second step, in which he can tell what he's good at. So first of all, we ask him to give his job title. And as you know, there's a lot of different job titles right now, ranging from very obvious ones to very original ones. So he could be a development ninja, as that does not really say what he does, or might not really say what he does. We also ask him to select the role that he plays in the project. So this is a drop down with some fixed fields of different roles that we find in projects, and John gets to select one, which in this case would be obviously development. Then he gets to fill in the product skills that he has, and he can just start typing. So we just saw AWS deep lens coming by. We might have Angular. He might have some Office 365 skills. Well, whatever he has, he can add them up to 10. If he's made a mistake, he can also delete them again. And the same goes for industries. So John can tell me that he has some experience with the healthcare sector, but he also has some experience in the media sector. Well, he adds them to his profile, makes sure that his profile is up to date with all the industries and product skills that he has the most experience with, and then he goes to the final step. And in the final step, we ask him some information about the languages that he speaks and the location that he's currently working from. So first of all, the languages, which is just normal languages. So he would say that he speaks English on a native proficiency. And as he is in Amsterdam, he also speaks Dutch. So he adds that to his profile. And again, if he makes a mistake, he can delete it again. And he finally selects a location for where he does his work from. And in this case, it's only one, because as a practice manager, only one location was added to the profile of my demo partner. If they had more locations, the practice manager could add them, and then the professional could select them. He selects Amsterdam, and when he does so, he finishes the onboarding process. Well, and as you can see, this is a very straightforward process that takes just a few minutes, no longer than filling in a timesheet probably. So that's very easy. As you can see, some things changed here. There are 61 professionals now. I can view the professionals here, and I would be able to see my profile if it loads. And the last thing that I want to show you afterwards is how John Johnson can make his profile invisible to others. So how you can close it down. Just to give you an idea, the search, I think we added Angular. A couple of people amongst which John Johnson. Like I said, I'm going to show you how he can close his profile down to anyone that should not see him, so anyone outside his company. He can do so by editing his profile, scrolling all the way down. And of course, if anything changes, he can do this here and hide his profile for public. So yeah, that's it. I think that's what I want to show you today, and that gives a good overview of what our platform currently is, looks and feels, some features, and the benefits of having an idea of what a company can do, the skills they have in-house, and how they can help you. So in the context of bringing transparency, I hope we clarified that for you. Are there any questions? Nothing in the chat. Then I want to thank you, and I hope you enjoyed this webinar. We would love to get in touch with you, to hear some feedback, to hear some response, maybe to help you get on our platform. We are with 4 people today. My colleagues Hugo van der Horst, Arnoud Atsma, and Edward Hyde, and myself, of course. Our email addresses are here. Please feel free to reach out to us because we're happy to help. And with that being said, no more questions present. I want to thank you for your attendance today. Thanks for so many people showing up. And I wish you a very good day, and hopefully we'll be in touch. Thank you.